All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this is Productions, and we were starting our podcast today missing someone. We're missing our friend Alec here, and we also have Sammy, Pedro, and myself, Josiah, here to talk about
Various things.
Yeah, and our topic for today will be, well, starting with bad luck.
All relating to poverty.
All relating to poverty. And so, bad luck, in essence, has several different variations. It could be bad luck being accident or being involving your your dishwasher just broke or something like that. So we're just talking about bad luck and then how it relates to poverty. So I'm going to start off with, like I said, dishwasher. My house has very many problems with water.
It's old.
Well, it is old, but we as a family have problems with water appliances, whether it's our refrigerator, water heater, dishwasher, whatever it is dealing with water, leaks in our sprinklers, stuff like that. So I would classify that as bad luck. And Sammy, what is a thing that's bad luck to you?
Probably same with water appliances because we've had floods in our houses due to dishwashers, clothes, stuff like that.
Okay. Why would you classify that as bad luck?
Because it just happens out of nowhere and just I can't blame it on anything else except for luck.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Pedro, as for you, same question. What is bad luck to you and your household?
Well, bad luck, I would believe, is, I'm pretty sure it's injury, because I don't know why. I'm just so prone to injury.
The rock to the back of the head.
The rock to the back of the head was a big blow.
Let's talk about that. A rock to the back of the head. I personally don't know that story very well. So can you explain?
Elaborate? Oh,
yeah, elaborate to the back of the head.
All right.
Who did this?
Who did this?
Yeah. Was it purposeful?
Well, it wasn't purposeful. It was obviously by accident. But I think things could have gone much differently if they would to obviously read the signs not to go up on top of the cliff, but they obviously kids are kids and they
okay, we got you jumped to a cliff. Why were you on the side of a cliff?
Okay, let me just start from the beginning here. I'm going to give you the short story. We went up to the mountains with my family, and I was with my nephews, my parents. Alright, so we're about to go to the sand dunes, and we see this sign to a waterfall, and we thought maybe it would be cool to go up to the waterfall. Well, when we get to the parking lot to the waterfall, it was maybe a 15-minute drive up there. We would have to hike another mile just to get to the waterfall. So I do that. I run up hiking, and I got there first, and I don't see the waterfall. You have to take the walk past this cliffside with ropes hanging on the side, and then you have to climb past the river onto a little shelf, and then you have to take off your shoes and your socks into a ice cold river. It was freezing, death cold. But I was the only one to go in there into the little chasm. I was the only one to get pictures of the waterfall. It looked really nice. But when I came out, I was behind everyone. I was behind my dad and my nephew. My mom didn't go in, but my dad and my nephew went with me. They went first before us, before me, I mean. They went first before me, and then right as I stepped out from under the cliffside, I get hit by something, obviously the rock, which got knocked off by, I don't know who it was, I don't know how they knocked it off at all. Karma, it was not karma, obviously.
Karma.
I did nothing wrong.
Karma.
Okay, so Sammy's over there spitting out karma, but
please elaborate on karma.
Yeah.
Karma.
So, but
Please.
How does it relate to bad luck? How does karma relate to bad luck?
Karma creates bad luck. Hey, you do something bad, karma's hey, you messed up. Time for me to mess you up.
Okay, so, but if karma was there all the time. Is it there all the time, I should ask?
I would say no, because like you see serial killers like go on for days and they get nothing bad happening to them.
Okay. But then do you think it is selective?
I would think it's see.
I would
Serial
say
kill-
I would say it's a teaching.
It's more of a teaching thing, as Sammy just said. It was more of a teaching thing. It's more of a learning thing because you do bad stuff, then something bad happens to you. Well,
yeah, you're like, hey, I called that girl a bad name, and then I get like the flu the next day.
So, but like in his essence, where he got hit by a rock in the back of the head, how is that karma? Because I'm guessing PJ, being the person he is, he didn't do probably anything that bad.
Probably
Could
not.
karma be over exaggerated?
Definitely.
It could be. It's just that it's depending on like the situation. Like you could have done something super bad. Like let's say, there's somebody begging on the street, all right, and you look at them and you say, "What are you doing here? Get out of here! You're just begging for money because you don't know them. You don't know what situation they're in. Obviously, they could be asking more money for alcohol, cigarettes, drugs. Who knows? It could be any person. But then, what if they were actually trying to feed a family? You know, that were obviously just thrown into that situation. They couldn't do anything about it. And then maybe like something bad happens to you. Like I don't know, something. Your car breaks down.
Dog dies.
Your dog dies.
Hell, fire, and brimstone.
Okay, so with that, bad luck doesn't only happen to good people, does it?
It happens to everyone.
It happens to everyone. So with the agreement and
You're
with
never safe.
you're never safe, but we need to realize that bad luck, does it go hand in hand with karma, or does bad luck stand on its own and with karma being like a
They
substitute?
each stand on their own, but like
karma.
they can go hand in hand.
They could. It's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. It's more of a symbiotic relationship where they might not need each other, but they work best with each other.
Okay. So, going from bad luck, we are talking about poverty here. So, poverty and bad luck. Is poverty a strain of bad luck? Can it be like something that is picked off of bad luck? Is poverty like a substitute for bad luck?
No, because like certain people, like they make certain choices where they fall into poverty, and that's their
Okay.
choice.
But were they ever told to do anything different, though?
Well, most likely, yes.
People always, obviously, people will always get a certain, like, told certain things, and that they would be given support in something they want to do that could obviously benefit them from trying to get out of poverty, like trying to work multiple jobs and try to get out of that situation they're in. But then there's some people that they don't care. They won't try because they feel like they're so down that they can't climb out of a hole that they're in. Obviously, that they can't climb out.
And the only solace they find is drugs.
So okay, but once again, like they're burying themselves with drugs or with other things like that.
Yeah.
So bad luck. So bad luck can be strained. Sorry about that. Sarah decided to started tickling me. So
Not my fault.
bad luck is strained from all these different aspects and different things that can happen in our world today. We see bad luck every day, isn't that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
See a homeless person on the street. See someone fall face first into a wall. You never know.
You don't know what happened before. They could have just. Who knows? It's depending. It's just really depending.
Okay. So with poverty side of bad luck, what is the extent of bad luck in poverty? what can happen. Maybe it doesn't matter whether the person is has higher pay or whatever.
What race they are, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but does bad luck pick and choose who it's happening to?
No,
But
but it can. So like that's where karma and bad luck come into play. Bad luck doesn't choose; it just happens at random. But karma can pick and choose. That's why they work both together, the best.
okay. So another thing that we can see see in our world today, that why is it that karma or bad luck get affected by either our local government or with our poverty slash poor people of our country today? See, if we go off and we say bad luck can be strained from people doing bad things or whatever, they may decide that, oh, doing these bad things won't get me anywhere else then, or doing good things may not get me anywhere else. But like, I personally have seen people in very, very poor situations, and they're amazing people. They are strong, willing, and wanting to get better people, but they just physically can't.
Because they hit rock bottom and they don't have a ladder to get out. Whereas at the top of the pit, the one percenters or even like the middle class, they're just looking down on all the rest of the poor people like, hey, come on up. But they don't have a way out. And we refuse to help them.
Okay, why is that? Why does ourselves or the country today refuse to help?
I think it's because we refuse to think that we let ourselves.
It's still
Get down.
It's still a bit racial.
It is racial, but there's also things like people are very like
They're for themselves because this is a capitalist country.
they're ignorant on how they think on their lives. Like it's just them, and that they shouldn't worry about anybody else but themselves. When we should really think about other people and how we can help, because they could just make this world better. But we don't, because we want to ignore it. We want to put it away because it's something bad that no one wants to talk about, and it's kind of like an embarrassing thing to say that we let people be in this type of condition so that they can suffer like that, and obviously we just ignore it like it's nothing at all. But when it really is something big that nobody really wants to commit to fixing.
So, to commit to fixing, what do you mean by that? We see that people are trying to fix it, though. Don't we? Do we see
we do
like
see
either
it.
commercials or people like that are working their hardest to try to fix this part of society, the poverty side?
And
of-
we see people, but
But
they're
it's
not
just-
really advertised as
But they're like
much.
the problem is that they are trying, but they're not getting support from so much the government. See, they're their own private organization that they obviously people
and
came
they
together.
can only go so far.
People can only go so far. They're gonna need thousands of people to be helping nationwide, probably tens of thousands, just to deal with it. Because you need to find the people jobs. You need to find out why they're in poverty. You need to find out if they have a family, how many people are with them, if they have children, if they have a wife, if they have a husband. It depends on how much they need help and how much they don't need help. Some people can be.
Did we talk about the Sports Authority field in the last stream, or
Yeah.
was
Yes,
it after?
we talked about the Sports Authority field
Okay.
last stream.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, I would suggest you guys go listening back to our last
I wouldn't
podcast.
go listen to it.
But I mean,
My quality is bad, but you can understand what we are discussing.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I'll recap a little bit. So the Sports Authority Field Initiative, I'm calling it. So what it was basically turning the whole Sports Authority field, because it is huge and it can take more than Colorado's population of homeless people, or just people who can't afford a home or something like that nature, and put them in Sports Authority field and have its own sustained mini society inside of Denver. So hire people to teach them how to do different jobs, help them get on back on their feet and back into the world.
Okay, so that was a little bit of a recap. But let's get back on track with what you're saying. What is wrong with the society today? Like,
Care.
exactly. So, if you didn't hear Sammy say it again,
They don't care.
so they don't care. As he says, they don't care. Who doesn't care?
The government.
Well, that's
Basically,
just-
that's a little bit too specified. I would say more the people as, I guess you could say general people, but there is some people that obviously care. They made the organizations to do it, but obviously we see big obviously important people, like Sammy says, the government, or maybe
they got the money. They don't have to worry about it.
But does the government technically have the money?
No,
To do it.
because we are like $7 billion in debt.
Okay,
more than that.
let's just
But let's
drive away from that.
Let's
Let's
not
drive away
side
from
track to that. We're not focused on that.
So we will go back to bad luck in a second. Let's jump to when we were younger, actually. So when we were younger, did we ever encounter situations with, or in our smallest of memories, encounter situations that were bad luck to ourselves or to people around us, or maybe family members denying money to be given to a person on the street, or stuff like that? Did we ever see that as children?
Oh, yeah.
And did,
I was told as a young child to like specifically look at homeless people's shoes, because if they have nice shoes, they're not homeless; they're just beggars.
okay, so when I was a couple years ago, I went to New Orleans, and there's these people that would go around, and they would walk up to you and say, I know where you got your shoes, and if I know where you got your shoes, you owe me $2. And then me being out of state, I was like, I doubt it. And so he came up, he said those words. He said, I know where you got your shoes, and if I get the right place, correct,
You give me $2.
you give me $2. And I said,
Walmart.
you're going to get it wrong because I'm out of state. I said this to him even though he didn't understand. So he didn't realize me being out of state that he was going to get it wrong. So he said New Orleans. And I was like, you're wrong. And he considered that as a threat. So at that moment, for some reason, he decided.
Wait. What? He's like, yeah, you got it wrong, my boy. Time to fight.
Yeah,
Take off your
basically-
shoes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Did he say let's no bodies, let's fight?
No. So what he did was he was like, "What? I'd never get it wrong," and he started getting aggravated. And so another thing he would do is he would act like he would clean your shoes for you. So he bent down.
Is he like? Is he
check.
following you around?
Yeah. So literally, the pier down there, we just went down there just to look at the Mississippi River and look out and see how massive it is. And there they were. They didn't have anything better to do, or they couldn't do anything better to do because they were not taught. But he came up and he wanted his $2. In the end, he bent down and he tried to clean my shoe, because that's another thing he would do. He would clean people's shoes for the amount of money. And so he bent down, poured cleaning oil on my shoe, and was like, now you pay me the $2 because or $4 because one, I got the thing right, And I was like, no, you did not. And two, I poured expensive oil.
Well, why would you do that?
At that point, I've been like, yo, you just put oil on my shoes. I'm like, yo, no. And then I was just like, no, you don't get nothing. If anything, you owe me money for my ruined shoes now.
And so, and like the shoes he poured it on, they were like cotton based. And so they just went straight into the shoe. They didn't even, like, they weren't like Converse or something. It went straight into the shoe. And like we see nowadays, people trying to do stuff like that are trying to gain money off of people by doing favors for them or doing small things for them. That was my own experience for when I was a little bit younger. But yeah, so what is an experience from your guys' perspective of being young and having poverty things happen to you? Whether it's your own personal lives or if it's more of a third person perspective, watching something go down or something like that.
Well, like, I was about, I think, 5. One of my uncles from Wyoming, he had come down and come see us. I'm like, oh, okay. He's pretty nice. Me and my 5-year-old self. And he comes down in this, like, pedophile-looking van. You know the ones I'm talking about. The blacked-out windows, curtains over the back windows, like, an like, white. Just
It's a sketchy van.
sketchy, really, really sketchy van.
Okay.
And so he pulls up in the driveway. I'm like, oh, it's my uncle.
He's here.
But it didn't look like my uncle. I mean, I knew it was my uncle, but it didn't look like my uncle. His hair was like all greasy. His eyes were super baggy. He was super pale, super skinny. And I knew something was wrong. I'm like, Mom, is he sick? And my mom was like, no, we're not opening the door. We're not doing anything. We're not home. He was clearly on drugs. That I know now. And so my mom's like, no, we're just going to wait for him to go away. He's clearly on drugs, and he doesn't need to be here.
Okay, so that is your own personal perspective of having poverty or bad luck.
Well, yeah, because he wanted money.
Yeah, so we can infer that he wanted money. So having problems with family and having problems with money side of family, have you ever, Pedro, ever had maybe family members or people around you, not even family members, but just people in general, come up to you and ask you for money?
Ask me for money.
Well, yeah, like Sammy. PJ, can I have $5? How about at school? Does someone at school ask you for money?
Oh, yeah. All the damn time.
Pedro?
Me? No. I don't have any money to spare, to be honest with you. I'm in the level of poverty as well, but
Because PJ doesn't have a job.
I don't. That's one thing. I don't have a job. Two, I just don't have any money. But I usually don't get asked that ever.
Okay.
I haven't
People
been.
know you don't have a job. Like, people know me and Josiah have a job, and like,
They try to freeload off of you, but
yeah.
But in general, like, if it was like homeless people that didn't know if I had a job or not, obviously I look like I'm
Yeah.
rich enough to have money on
With
me.
your
at
gold
least.
chain around your necklace.
Okay, that was a gift. This is a
I'm
gift.
joking.
But from my Uncle Nico, eh?
But anyways, I haven't been asked that, but there is an experience that I can share that was poverty. This was back, I believe, this is back when the Mexico and the United States was more favorable relations, but we went to go visit my grandma, and she obviously hasn't gone to the States.
Abuela.
But anyways, this maybe like 5 or 6. I don't remember, but it was a very long time ago. My grandma lived very far south. I can tell very far south because if I remember correctly, she was literally in the jungle with oxes just roaming around like it was nothing.
She's like Azteca.
But we had to take a bus. It wasn't even a bus. It was a truck. It was like a farm truck that was on a dirt road that led up. Obviously, it led to a mountain. We had to walk up the mountain, and my grandma lived in a concrete hut
I wouldn't even say it's a concrete hut because it's literally made out of cinder blocks, and that's probably it. She didn't have TV, but this TV was so retro that I'm pretty sure you could get a better one for cheaper than what she had. She didn't really have anything. She didn't have a dishwasher. She didn't have a laundromat. She didn't have a dryer. She had to wash her clothes outside. She had no fresh water. She had barely food, any food at all. I don't know how she survived out there by herself, because now she's about 80 something years old. She's like 70s over there when the last time we went to Mexico. But the thing she had for food was a tree that grew fruit that she ate from, and then any money that she had, she obviously went to the store and bought maybe some rice or some beans, or maybe got some cane from the cane fields, because there was cane fields nearby that she could probably eat from. But she was in severe poverty, and she had a bed, but that bed was like probably gotten from some, I don't know, from like some trash or somewhere. But I don't know how bad it was back then as a child, but now I understand that she's in a bad spot, and that's why we brought her back to the States, so my mom can take care of her, so we can obviously take care of her so she doesn't have to get food for herself.
So, as you hear that story, that is true poverty, I would say. Not only that of not having necessities, but struggling day to day. Now, the question I'm going to ask is, do you think poverty is a necessity for us to grow? For each person to have, in some time of their life, have a stricken or like a moment of poverty
Definitely.
in their life?
Definitely, you need the character building experience, because like rich people, you can see it. They're pompous.
Very
Okay.
pompous.
Okay, the word pompous, what do you mean by pompous?
Like no,
They're-
stuck high in the air, thinking they're better than.
They think they say that you're lower than them.
Technically, we are, but it's just,
But I'm saying, like, in like not in
our status.
in status, not in as in money status, but as a personal status and as a character status, saying that I am. It's like kind of like a feudal system, where the king is above everyone else, and you have to respect them. You have to be respectable. You can't talk crap about them. You can't do anything like that. You have to be nice to them. See, you don't want that, because then that just makes you a person that obviously nobody likes, because nobody wants somebody that thinks they're better than everyone else, because then they don't like you because you think you're better than everyone else, and that they're stuck down there. They're stuck down here trying to provide for our family. I think I'm a better person than you personally as a character, because I actually care about people when you do not, and you obviously put everyone down.
But the people that we're talking about, don't they have people that they care about? Don't they take care of some people? I mean, there's some circumstances that they don't care about other people, but we can see those people that do. I mean, being able to see finances for a certain organization, I can see the input of people with a little bit more money inputting a little bit more than most people, just because they have that money, and putting them into areas that would matter not to many people, but to just a small group of people that need it. So, do you think, jumping back a little bit, do you think the poverty is needed in every day for every single person in the world?
I think it should be. It should be at least noticed, because if you can notice it, you can obviously think about it, and you can obviously reflect on it. And how do you think it is? Because obviously, like, you could be a snobby person, but then you could be rich, but you can be like that down human,
Humble.
that you understand that you're on their level, that you understand what is happening to them and you obviously care about them. Obviously, some people were born into being rich, but then some people were obviously poor and they actually built up a business from the ground up and they understand what it means to being at their level of like,
Poor.
below the standard living line.
The poverty line.
So, to that, we see every day people having troubles and people living in that poverty line a little bit longer than others. But I would say that most people that see it and recognize it and see that they need to make a difference, I would just call them humble to the idea of
Helping. Yes.
and being humble to the idea of so many people in that poverty line or below it even, just needing to help or in essence be there for them. I mean, whether it's going up to them with a box of pizza and say, hey, do you want a slice, and then talking to them for a while, making them feel
At least
wanted
making them feel at least human up to par to you, that you are just like me, that you can do something with your life.
yes.
At the end of the day, we're all humans.
Exactly.
Yes. So, at the end of the day, we are all humans. So, with that,
Do we want to close, or do we want to discuss any more?
do you have anything more to discuss, Sammy?
What would you say consists of poverty? Like, what are the rest of the topics? What you think make up poverty?
I think what makes up poverty is not just the
Finances.
yeah, the finances, but
It
it's
could be
our
something else, more like mental, or maybe something physical, like we could say let's say veterans.
Yeah, veterans, like war veterans, like
They came back from war. They lost a
PTSD.
limb, PTSD.
Yeah. Okay.
Or anything like that.
That's a good thing to talk about. Is veterans today? Our veterans of the United States, because we're in the United States, of course. We see veterans all the time having so many difficulties. Whether it's not being able to eat for a certain time, or just overall having troubles, and we're not seeing. Enough done for them. But
like they fought, they went and died for you. They've killed people for you just so you can be safe.
okay.
Like we need to do more for them,
Okay.
so
So
not just send them out in some squalor, leave them to die.
but isn't there like ways they could? I will say this, and I may regret it, but isn't there a way that they could help themselves? I mean, the United States,
They have access to the VA benefits, but even then, it's
The
still
VA,
not enough.
the VA, yeah,
Okay, let's start with let's talk about the VA, because the VA, I've heard from this story. I can't really remember it so well, but they were talking about the VA, and well, this one gentleman, he needed a kidney transplant because his kidney was slowly withering away, and he needed one soon for surgery because he would need a replacement. He needed to go. So he went to the VA, the Veteran Affairs, and he asked for a kidney. And they said, okay, you're gonna have to wait in a line. You're gonna have to wait in a kidney line. All right, this guy waited 3 months to get a kidney, and he passed away while in that line, waiting for a kidney. He didn't even move up a spot to get a kidney.
okay. So is it a problem with the VA, or is it the problem with our central government not
I think
helping?
It's both.
It's
both.
both.
Okay.
I think it's the government's handling of the VA, hiring people that obviously are not caring about the VA as much as someone you could hire that would care much more, because the government has hand in obviously hiring the people to work in the VA for the federal government for the veterans, but then it's all up to, and then they could obviously impart just ruin somebody's life. But the VA also could try to ignore the government and try to obviously hire better people that they think the government was not obviously choosing correctly that would best serve the VA.
Okay. With that, we see today veterans going through life having troubles not with just health issues, trying to get limbs or not limbs, medical
true, too.
kidneys or stuff like that.
They could just be coming home,
Home.
and they just need a job to
Yes.
work to get food.
Yes. So job to get work and get food,
See-
or even we see today college. Like we hear all about how if you go into the army or whatever force you go into, that if you come out and come back to
You were guaranteed a job,
guaranteed a job
or medical, or whatever they. And
Yeah.
obviously, in the GI Bill, you will get whatever is stated in
Yeah.
there.
but as well as college experience, like
Exactly.
they offer scholarships, and even forever long you are in the
Military.
The
military, you see like people being offered more and more college.
opportunity.
Let's just get him in. Let's just get him in the military. Cannon fodder at that point.
So, but where do we see those people today? I met
You see him over in Afghanistan fighting against their will,
so
dying in some godforsaken sand dune.
but I mean more of like
After the fact?
college people.
Oh yeah, the
ones
people,
that
the
get to
people.
college.
Yeah,
I can give you an personal experience for myself.
same here.
My cousin, he served in the Marines. He served in Afghanistan. I believe he served a tour. I believe. I try to keep it up. But he served in the military, and right now he's actually going to college. He's actually going to get I'm pretty sure he's going to get a general engineering degree for some type of engineering. But he's doing well. He's got a job, and he's doing really well for himself for education, so he can support his 2 kids that he has.
Okay, so that's a
That's
story of success.
That's the story of success. Yes.
So, with story of successes, we see nowadays like what is some of the charities for wounded veterans program. But so like we see nowadays that like veterans are having troubles with getting out of the poverty line. We also see
doesn't pay enough.
well, but not only that. Like, what can we as a society do today to help with veterans?
Veteran housing, veteran rehabilitation, veteran medical. I mean, that's all supposed to be taken to the VA, but VA doesn't help. And there's like a waiting line of years.
The VA barely does anything at all. To be honest, it's just there.
It's just kind of there, like, hey, yeah, you have benefits, but we're not going to let you use them.
Okay. So, what else besides military? What is another group of people that we see having troubles with poverty?
Blacks, Native Americans,
It's
Mexicans,
basically
everyone who isn't white. Granted, there's some white people, but it's everyone who isn't white.
it's predominantly more obviously brown
Yeah.
races because
Yeah, the Mexicans or the Latinos coming into these southern cities, LA, Phoenix, Arizona, they're getting repressed because they're immigrating to the United States wanting a better life. But the white people are like, yo, no.
Get out of my country. The blacks, they were in slavery. They're even still trying to recover from that. They're still getting racially profiled by the police, getting killed everywhere, and like not being able to come up in society. The Native Americans getting slaughtered by the government when Manifest Destiny was around, and even still, the government is taking away reservations, what they said they could not take away. Not having enough water for them, food, Nothing.
Okay.
So, but what does the whites live in comfortable in suburbia?
Not every.
Oh, okay.
This is mixed
big city, and then there's also some in like the slums with the racially minorities and stuff like that. But you don't really see that. You see the white people, middle class, higher class, always higher than the other races.
See, you don't want to commit to their level because that's just racial profiling. You don't want to commit to their level where you're saying like,
Hey, Kyle, it looks that way, and it's really that way.
It's as if you're saying. It's as if you're saying this the Mexican stereotype. Well, the Mexicans don't do anything.
Mexicans do so much for us.
I know exactly, but I'm just saying this is a stereotype where the Mexicans don't do anything. They don't do anything.
They took my job.
They're just taking our taking up space, living space for obviously the people that work, or they're saying that all African Americans are gang members, or that they commit crimes, that they're violent, and that they are less than a person.
Okay. I'm guessing that the people here have seen the video about boxes. Have you seen the video with Norway creating these boxes of stereotypes?
Oh yeah, I've seen that video.
I have not seen that. Please,
So
please
like
explain.
It's a big warehouse, and you have different boxes, and so like you throw out some boxes like who has a family member in prison, and it's like half split group of 50-50 white people and black people.
Well, no, not necessarily. So
Well, I mean,
there's
that's
each box.
they're making.
There's like box of a certain type of people, and they're actually there. So there's people that look like gang members, or are gang members, or nurses, a group of people who are nurses,
Yeah,
or
you know, there was just one dude. He was like super buff, super tatted up, piercing. Like you did not want to look at this guy on the street for fear of taking your wallet. But he was a nurse.
yeah,
He was a nurse.
yeah,
He was a nurse.
So, like, they did that, and it was crazy because we see so many different people being like available for the other circumstances of life. We see people dressed up and ginormous people that wouldn't be expected to be a nurse or something, or it would be like someone young who is experiencing troubles throughout their lives, or they would call out and say, okay, who has ever been bullied in their life? And everyone who has been bullied in their life would step forward and go stand in a single box, telling us that they were that way. We see that in that society, but with that, what can we do to not have boxes, not have that line where we seclude the poverty line and the people in poverty to their own box?
You know that didn't happen. Before the white man came.
We have to explain the situation. Obviously, that something we are experiencing so much stereotypes, and then we're experiencing so much racism. Obviously, I'm going to elaborate on the Norway boxes thing. I was watching this one show, and they tested this one group of people, one white and one African American, and they tested the shooters. They tested certain pictures of people, all right, and they're obviously like they look like normal people. They look like African Americans, or they look like white people, or they look like good working folks, or they look like they're gang members. And they obviously tested the Caucasian or white people, the white group first, and they noticed that more people shot the African Americans as in fear that they are gonna do something, you know.
So,
but then
there's also then when they tested the African American groups, they did the exact same thing.
Okay, so
They did the exact same thing, and I'm pretty sure that it's the stereotyping is so relevant in our day-to-day lives that even their own race believes that they are bad people as well.
okay, but how does that relate back to poverty? We see that people have their situations that may give them troubles or have the problems with stereotyping themselves. But how does that relate back to poverty? Because poverty is not controlled by a certain group. It is just overall
Yeah,
rock
obviously.
bottom
Yeah.
for many, many people.
Yeah. See, it's just because the people, many people obviously think that they're always getting pushed the idea that Mexicans are poorer than the average white Caucasian middle class male. When obviously I'm also Mexican or Hispanic myself, and that shows that I'm a middle class child. My parents are middle class. We're basically middle class. My family members are middle class. We're not in poverty. Maybe some family members that are in Mexico, they might be having a worse time than us, because obviously in Mexico it's just a worse situation for them. But I have a uncle. He has a manager job for Union Pacific. I'm pretty sure he oversees like construction, so he's basically a foreman. He makes $100K, about 100,000 a year, and he barely got his high school GED.
So, okay, with that, is it something that we just need to expand the learning or be able to develop a system that we can have the homeless or the people that are poverty struck to get as low as their GED or something of the sort? We want to remember that people that have problems will continue to have problems unless they make the choice themselves. We can always try to do something to help them or better them, but it also has to be a choice on their part.
Yeah, so like we have set up a GoFundMe page. Yeah, if you want to go check that out, it's SPAJ Productions, and we're doing it on poverty, so we can help.
We can donate to a charity, local charity.
It's called Bessie's Hope.
And so something like that, Betsy's Hope, that's helping us locally.
We hope to aim for bigger scales.
Yeah, well, we hope to encourage people to not just help us, but help their own community. Whether it's helping at a food center or going to help at something like building homes, or just there are many ways that a normal person
homeless.
Yeah, there are many ways that a normal person can go out and help those with poverty. And I don't think that we just leave them behind. We need to help
Build them up.
build them up. Build them up to a certain extent that they can get out on their own and help themselves that way. We want to not just stick it to this podcast and not
Just leave it
help.
at that.
Yeah.
No.
We ourselves need to put it out for the local government, or with ourselves working with local churches, or
anything at all just to help.
anything at all just to help. So what else? Well, okay, we talked about helping. What about something current day? Current day meaning with people showing up in different situations that can not help themselves, but like showing up and hurting themselves? What are some situations that they can show up and hurt themselves more than help themselves in the poverty line?
Drugs.
Drugs,
Alcohol.
alcohol. What are other things besides the main things?
Obviously, pushing
Gambling.
gambling, pushing themselves down, thinking that
They can't get back up.
that they can't get back up, and that they need to stay down there because obviously everyone else is saying, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, when you really can push yourself to achieve as great as a person that you see on the streets, like randomly. But so many people are in the mentality that I'm putting myself so low that I can't even try to get myself out. That I want to stay down here because I feel like I belong here. Like everyone else is saying that I belong here, that I'm supposed to meant to be here. When you really do not have to be meant to be there.
Okay. People that have those situations that they can't get out of, though. Gambling is a word that Sammy said. For gambling is a problem for poverty. It's because I think they see that as a quick way to make a small bit of cash, and as they make that small bit of cash, that
They
they
keep going.
They keep going.
They're like, okay, I got this. I can do it, and they lose it all.
Yeah.
I guess it can go back to the topic we discussed in the beginning, where it's that we have is it bad luck or is it a good luck? But then it's just all depending on the person themselves.
And how they accept their work ethic, whether it's them working hard for what they want or not doing that, not being on the street corner and asking for money, like just giving up. We as a society today look at that person on the street corner and we say, shame on them, they put themselves in there. But we need to train ourselves not to do that. We need to train ourselves to look at those people and say, they are trying to get back on their feet. I had a teacher once say that once you hit rock bottom,
There's no way down. You gotta go back up.
Yeah.
There is, and like that, you can just take a shovel to the bottom, pick, and you can dig yourself deeper. But once you hit rock bottom, you'll realize, hey, I need to get back up.
Yeah, and rock bottom, I mean, is very, very hard to get to by some
By a means.
means,
Get out.
but and get out of. But
If
there
you
are
have the determination to do it.
yeah, and there are also people in this world that are kind and willing enough to help you get out of that. Earlier this week, I actually had a situation where a gentleman walked up to me and asked me for money. And he came up and asked me for money to get back to Arvada. And he asked if he could just spend some money to get some money to go to Arvada to go back to his family. And then a couple days later, I did give him some money, and they said just a couple dollars that they need to get back. And I was like, okay, I'll give you enough money for you to get back. So I gave him the money. And then a couple days later, I work at a movie theater. And I was working one day, and I see that kid walk into the movie theater, buy himself a ticket, and so from that point on, I looked at him as different. That he was using not my money for getting to his home in Arvada.
But
I
just
was-
some random person just wanting money just to do something so simple that they could have just done themselves.
Yes, but I'm also getting to a different point. I'm also getting to the point where we shouldn't look at that. I'm getting to the point where if someone is asking for money, it's either they don't know how not to, that they don't know how to not look at themselves to not look at themselves and try to keep themselves from getting themselves away from um so getting themselves from that point where they don't know what else to do, that they don't know if it is okay for them to
trick, or maybe lie about something so they can at least get some money, so they can try to obviously try to benefit themselves and only themselves, but sometimes that can put them in an even deeper hole. But it could also mean a good thing because they could be meaning fact. You just don't know the person enough to understand them enough where it sounds like they're lying, but you don't know if they are. It could be truth that they're saying, but then if you don't see them again, then who knows? Who knows? It could have been some random person begging for money that they wanted to go get some food or something.
Yeah, but like who knows? Like you give them that one little dollar, and that could have pushed them over the edge, and they could have got themselves a hotel room. They could have.
They could have gotten some shelter or got some food or something.
Yeah, it could have helped themselves better themselves.
But I mean, it could really affect somebody's life, but it could also mean nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what really people think about is it worth it to actually try to help people out? Is it really worth it to try to help someone out because you don't know that person? You don't know what situation they're in.
I would say don't worry about that. I would say that we want to get
Just
to
take
this.
the chance.
Yeah, I want to not even take the chance, just do it. Not even like
Don't even think about
Think
it
about
as a chance. Think
Yeah.
about it as
It's an
you are
opportunity.
doing as an opportunity. Yes, exactly.
opportunity to help someone that is in need. And we see now that people are having troubles getting by just that minimum wage, or not even that, like just people getting by with asking money off the street. We see people unemployment in general. We see people having troubles getting through that. I mean, there's certain opportunities in Brighton alone where they can go for housing and get less, so they pay less on housing, but they still need to pay something. So they need to work hard and. Okay, so we have a question in our chat. So how would I help someone out if I truly don't have cash on myself? You're addressing what we can do with our money. What can my 8-year-old niece do to help?
So what you can do with that is, since they're doing that, you can just go sit and talk with them, get to know them, acknowledge that they're a human being.
Yeah, acknowledge
At least just have a conversation with them.
and having your 8-year-old niece would be amazing around them, because they would be like, hey, I am contributing to their experience of life. They want to know the people that are giving them money, not even giving them money, just sitting there and talking with them.
It just really helps out their mentality that if this person is talking to me, then maybe it really is worth trying to bring myself back up.
Yes, and so it's because they are down out of and in poverty, not just with their money, but in their mental state too. That they don't just need money to help them get out of that situation. They also need like mental stability help. And so we just need to help them in that way. Help them with mental stability. It's to help the homeless, but she doesn't know how.
Just talk to them.
Yeah,
I mean, if
so-
you see, I mean, it may seem a little daunting to approach them, but they're
Maybe
still
s-
human beings too.
Yeah,
And I mean,
and taking to let them go, take her to a place where it's like a food center, and have her hand plates of food to the adults or people there,
Just even
and
talk to them. Just
and have them sit there, have her eat with them, and just let them talk.
See, this is actually a perfect time to talk about an experience. My friend, obviously, he's doing the same project as us, but he went to help out. He went to go hand out food for the poor, for the homeless. He went to a soup line, and after he was done, he actually talked to a homeless veteran that was sitting down, and he talked to him, and basically just had a normal conversation with him, asking him basically that how is his life, how is he doing, like how are you trying, like
to survive.
how are you trying to survive, how can I help to make your day a little bit better, you know. And these people are nice, they're just trying to make it by, and every little bit helps, obviously, to bring up their hope that anything is possible in our life, and that anything that you try to push yourself for might actually come true.
Yeah, and we're not just promoting giving money out and that would be the end of it.
We're promoting a global change. Or we're promoting like a social change.
Yeah, and that's just us trying to get people to reach out and maybe find a place that gives out these bags of with whether it's money in it or whether it's towels and shampoo and stuff like that that they can use just in their
Cleanliness.
everyday. What?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness, and they can, or cans of soup or stuff that they can easily open and use in their everyday life. I had an experience with a gentleman that came in to my mother's place of work, and he came in and she was alone. My mother being alone, this gentleman who claimed to just get out of the mental hospital because he was put in there for rousing up the police that he was trying to, I don't know, stay away from or whatever what the problem was. But he mentioned that he just was unstable, and he came to where my mom worked, asking if they had food or stuff to give them. My mom was alone, so she did not know how to do anything in particular. So yeah, my mother, has these bags at her work, just as the ones you, yeah, just the stuff like
That you listed
care
in
bags, toothpaste, toothbrush, shampoo, food, soap, stuff like that. And she gave that to him. But she was scared. And so we realized that one person need to not just do it by themselves, because they are not professionals in dealing or helping with those around. So when me and my brother got an information from my mom to come over and just sit with him, me and my brother went over there and we talked about how he was doing and like certain like situations that we can send him to find a place to get rest and maybe sleep for the night, and we will try to like push for not him getting better but ourselves getting better to help him or them. We want not just to help a singular person. Though we want to help on help getting a group of people together.
Yeah, it definitely kind of just comes around to that where getting a group of people together will obviously help out a lot for everyone to really just bring that. Oh boy, I'm losing words here.
So, like, bring people together not for one person, but for a group or a way to help others gain recognition or understand that they are people, that they are the people that make up percentages of the world. So so this is a live stream, but we are going to be putting it back onto our YouTube so you can go back and listen.
We're about, I don't know, an hour and 5 minutes in right now to our podcast.
Yeah, so with that long, what is but we need to recap some of the stuff that we talked about in this podcast.
We talked about obviously that's the generalized form, but we talked about bad luck, and we talked about personal experiences that we had with bad luck, personal experiences that we had with poverty,
Karma.
What else did we talk about? We talked about
like different situations with the government helping.
veterans that need help. Just ways to help out any homeless that they might need help, or trying to obviously better yourself in helping them. And we talked about races and how stereotypes do affect how poverty is viewed, and how stereotypes and stuff like that can affect poverty, and how the meaning is changed.
Yes, and so I think we're going to end this. Do we have any more conversation topics that we want to discuss about poverty?
I don't know.
You don't? Alright, so let us end today's podcast for this evening. Thanks everyone for joining in, and we will see you next time.
Don't forget to check out the GoFundMe page and our website.
Yeah,
We will post it in a link when we post the video to the YouTube.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for watching.